So this is an incredible plant that was used by Native Americans on the eastern slope. It grows extensively on the plains, and it's called biscuit root. The Latin name for it is Lomatium orientale, and this is an incredible plant. The whole plant is actually edible. The leaves are fairly tasty. The flower itself is tasty as well, but the part of the plant that Native Americans and later on trappers would have been most interested in is the root. And this root has a high starch content, which would have been very important for Native Americans. Carbohydrates in general are very difficult to come by in the wild, and so these plants would have been a very important food resource. And the Native Americans in this area, like the Cheyenne, the Arapaho, the Apache, the Ute, they would have, this time of year, been extensively harvesting this plant. And what they would do is they would actually dig up the root, and they could eat it fresh, which they probably would have done to get their calorie needs met as they were harvesting. But they would have also taken other roots and roasted them over the fire, or made them into stews along with some of the game meat they would have harvested from the land. But in addition to that, they also would have dried these roots out, and then they would grind them up into a powder, a very starchy powder, or fibers, and then they would form them into like cakes and preserve them that way, and then they could basically enjoy this plant extensively for the next few weeks or months, depending on how many they harvested. This is a really special plant. It's a really great tasting plant. It has a slight hint of the carrot taste to it because this plant is actually in the parsley or carrot family, and it's in a genus of plants, as I mentioned earlier, known as Lomatium. And if I remember correctly, there are over 70 species within the Lomatium genus that grow throughout the West. Some of them are marginally edible by our modern sensibilities. Others of them are absolutely delicious, and this is one of those that is really, in my opinion, great, both cooked and uncooked. So this is a type of plant known as a spring ephemeral, and what that means is these are plants that come out of the ground fairly early in the spring, and they're called ephemerals because they don't last a very long time. They're very, very brief in their life cycle, or I should say in their seasonal cycle. And what happens is, here real soon, this inflorescence, this flower bloom, will go to seed. This will drop the seeds, and then the whole above ground structure will dry out and shrivel up and break off right at the ground, and you won't be able to see where that plant was. Trying to get the whole root structure. So this starchy root is actually what allows this plant to basically make it through the winter and through the dry season. It just just keeps the plant structure alive, because this is a perennial and it will come back out year after year. I don't have an adequate digging stick, but this is biscuit root. The outer skin, the dark outer skin, which serves as a protective layer, which you can see a remnant of it right there. That's mostly just come off. This is the week of June 1st, and this is getting close to the end of the season for this amazing, wonderful, and delicious plant. So I'm going to clean off some of the dirt here. If I was eating a number of these, I would definitely probably clean this up more with some water or something like that. You can actually just see in there the starchy content. I'll kind of pull that apart. There's definitely fiber in there, but a significant percentage of this is actually starches, which serve as an important carbohydrate or energy resource.